You know, while everyone else was out there going over these new Bastion buffs, claiming that they're OP without even having seen them in action yet or tested them at all, I've been doing something far better. Oh yes, I've been complaining. Yes, I mean, it seems like it's all I pretty much do. I just sit here at this computer, complain into a microphone, receive views. Right? Well, I recently realized not only that my complaints have been kind of going off the rails and in the wrong direction, I also realized I haven't been complaining about one thing, something that I hold very dearly. My favorite hero in Overwatch, Mccree. Oh no, I have not been complaining about Mccree nearly enough. I mean, I do main the guy, kinda, sorta, technically. If he was a little bit better, I'd main him, whatever. So I should be complaining about him more, right? Well, let me preface this video by saying, I don't think Mccree is necessarily underpowered. I'm not just going to be sitting here begging for buffs. That's not the point of this video. I don't think Mccree is meta, but I also don't think every hero needs to be meta. I mean, that's impossible. Not every hero can be meta at every time. And Mccree also isn't overpowered, though. So when I say Mccree is unbalanced, it might surprise you. He's not underpowered, he's not overpowered, he seems balanced, right? Well, his kit is not balanced at all. Let me explain what I mean. It's actually kind of funny. A post on our Overwatch that wasn't a highlight or a play of the game actually got more than 2 upvotes, which is crazy. And it actually addressed something that I've been thinking about for a very long time. I'll link the post in the description, and you may think I'm just copying from it, but that's not the case at all. I've actually mentioned this to people and discussed this concept months before the date this video is going live. Back in early Season 2, actually, I was going to make this video, but that was before I kind of made negative/complaint videos about Overwatch. Now I make them solely to improve the game because I feel like that's the only way we're going to improve. If everybody just agrees with Jeff Kaplan and Jeff Goodman, we're not going to get anywhere because they could be making terrible decisions. So what exactly am I talking about when I say Mccree is not balanced? Because that is the topic of today's video. Mccree isn't balanced. Like I said, he's not overpowered. He's also not underpowered, so why is he unbalanced? Well, it's quite simple, really. Mccree's power comes from his primary weapon, his Peacekeeper, and not even all of it, just his left click. Mccree is picked solely because of his left click. He's not picked for his flashbang, which doesn't work most of the time. He is not picked for his small roll that is not nearly as good as the ability to sprint, like Soldier 76 has, and he's not picked to make himself weaker when he hits Q and make himself vulnerable to every enemy in the entire game. No, he's picked because he can left-click people. And that doesn't seem fair. So first, let's talk about Mccree's abilities and why they suck, because we need to go over why Mccree's abilities are terrible before we can really claim that the only good part of his kit is his gun. If you look at his role, you realize that it is not nearly as good as other abilities that other hero has. All the other assault heroes have lots of mobility abilities that are already better than the role, like Soldier 76's Sprint, Genji's Swift Strike, Reaper's Wraith Form, which also makes him invulnerable. Pharah has mobility, Sombra can teleport. Lots of things like this. And this already makes the role look pretty bad, but the icing on the cake is really that Mccree also has no sustainability. Reaper can pick up health, which most people don't realize is what makes him so good in a lot of situations. He picks up 50 HP every time he kills someone and is on top of them, which is where he kills people from. Genji has so much mobility, he can escape like every situation, and people like Soldier 76 can straight up heal themselves. That is a lot of power packed into someone's kit that Mccree just simply doesn't have. Now, Mccree does have a redeeming factor, which is that he has a stun/disrupt in his kit, that being his flashbang. That's something a lot of other assault heroes don't have. They can't end a whole hog, and they can't flashbang someone to just completely lock them down for a very short period of time. So Mccree does have that going for him. But it's so buggy and so poorly designed, I hate to say it like that, it doesn't work well enough for Mccree's purposes. I can't tell you the amount of times I've flashbanged a Tracer, but since she was jumping or moving, she ended up being able to recall faster than I could headshot her simply because she was in the air when I flashbanged her, or she was moving forward and her momentum didn't stop. Couple this with the fact that you do need to headshot someone after you flashbang them because your fan the hammer sucks and you realize flashbang isn't a great ability. It's probably the best one in his kit, and it's very powerful, but with its inconsistencies and the fact that you can't fan the hammer and you can't even do enough damage up close because of the bad fan the hammer to kill anyone over 200 HP, it's not the best thing in the world. And the thing is, this also doesn't end with Mccree's ultimate. His ultimate is single-handedly the worst ultimate in Overwatch. I mean, statistically, for one, it gets less kills per use than any other DPS ultimate in the game, so statistically it's the worst out of all the DPS heroes at least. And if you compare it to any of the tank ultimates or support ultimates, you're going to realize the same thing is true. There's no way you can tell me that any of the support ultimates in Overwatch are better than an ability that makes you stand still, glow, and become extremely vulnerable to all enemies while you're screaming at the top of your lungs what time it is to the whole enemy team. The only ultimate in the game that I think could be considered potentially worse than Mccree's ultimate is Junkrat's Riptire, simply because it gets blown up most of the time. But when you actually land the Riptire, you can kind of go big. You can get 1 or 2 kills, and that's similar to Mccree's Deadeye. The difference is when the Riptire gets destroyed, Junkrat is still alive. When Mccree's Deadeye is stopped, it's because Mccree is dead and he can't contribute to the fight anymore, which is actually a massive difference. So how on earth am I saying that Mccree is not underpowered? Why is Mccree not too weak if all of his abilities suck? It's simple. It's his primary fire on his Peacekeeper revolver. It performs exceptionally well at this sort of medium, give or take a few meters in either direction range that most Overwatch fights take place in. That Mccree is just extremely powerful. When the enemy is at a medium distance away, Peacekeeper is insane when you land headshots. Even body shots deal a fair bit of damage. I'm pretty sure everyone in the game knows that Mccree is picked because of this revolver, because his revolver is powerful and that someone who knows how to use it is going to be good at Mccree and good at Overwatch because Mccree isn't entirely too weak, like I've said. The problem I have with this is, one, it doesn't seem very dynamically engaging. You only have to learn one part of Mccree's kit, how to aim, to really be good with him. Sure, the excellent Mccrees know when to roll and flashbang, but rolling and flashbanging aren't very complicated things. And I'm not saying Mccree's easy, I'm saying he's very one-dimensional. Learn how to aim and you're good at Mccree. The common argument I get against this is that Widowmaker is this way. Widowmaker is picked solely because she can snipe, so why is that different? Why are you not saying Widowmaker is stupid when Mccree does the same thing? Shoots people. Well, unlike Mccree, Widowmaker's kit is actually entirely based around the fact that her main weapon is her strong suit. Her grapple allows her to get into a hard-to-reach location and then use her range effectively. And her venom mine alerts her when people get too close to her, which is where her main weapon suffers greatly. So she can use all of her abilities, including her ultimate actually, to really make sure she's at the optimal range for her Widow's Kiss and kill people effectively. Mccree isn't really like this. Sure, you can say when people get too close, they can fan the hammer or flashbang or both, but we've talked about how fan the hammer sucks, so that doesn't work. You have to flashbang and left click, but the reality is if the enemy is someone over 200 HP, you won't even be able to kill them after you flashbang them and even fan the hammer or headshot them, which means the opportunity for Ana to heal them or to receive a Zarya bubble or something else will come out when you definitely should have had a kill. When someone is overextended enough to the point where you can flashbang them, you should be able to kill them, but Mccree can't a lot of the time, which means his role also doesn't fit with his kit. His flashbang is used at very close ranges, and it should be able to secure you a kill, or at least keep you alive. So you flashbang, and then what? Roll away from people? I'm pretty sure rolling away from people is not what Blizzard had in mind on the flashbang, and I can say this confidently because it reloads your ammo. If you're trying to disengage from a fight, the last thing you need is more ammo. If that's the case, if they wanted Mccree's role to be used as a disengage, they would have probably balanced it differently and not had it give you ammo. What I'm saying needs to be done here is not strictly buff Mccree. I think buffs could help. Sure, he's not the best hero right now. He's actually like 100% outclassed by Soldier, which doesn't make too much sense right now, because if you think about the Peacekeeper in terms of skill, it's a very hard weapon to use. You need to land headshots, and you need to land them consistently. If you miss a shot, you miss a lot of damage. But with Soldier 76's rifle, you can miss a shot, and it's not that big of a deal, because you have 24 more in your magazine. And it does more damage per second than Mccree's Peacekeeper. The Peacekeeper does have more accuracy, I'll give you that, but when you're bullet hosing down range, it doesn't really matter. The extra damage on Soldier's weapon just makes it a better choice, an easier choice, and if you add on top of that the rest of Soldier's kit, there's no reason any competitive team would really pick Mccree over Soldier 76. I'm definitely straying off topic. The point of this video isn't that Mccree is weak or weaker than Soldier 76, although that is the case. A hero doesn't necessarily need to be meta to be played. That's seen with a lot of heroes, Hanzo being one of them, and that's totally fine. Mccree doesn't need to be meta, but I would like his kit to synergize with itself a little bit better. I'd like not just a gun in his kit and then a bunch of other things that don't really do anything. I also don't want any ability that's too powerful like Fan the Hammer was back in the day when it did 420 damage. That's ridiculous. Mccree needs to find some sort of middle ground that rewards his hard-to-use left click, his primary fire, but doesn't entirely make the rest of his kit useless like it kind of feels right now. Hopefully this all makes sense to you. If it does, be sure to leave a like down below, and maybe check out this other video I've put up on screen here, because I'm far too lazy to make an outro with like music and stuff. So I'm just going to kind of talk about this video. It's a great video. You'll love it. It's my best video, and it was basically made for you. So yeah, have a good one, everyone. I'll see y'all later. Lone Hawk out.